Good morning, Chavra. Today is Thursday, the 16th of Sivan. We're starting a new chapter in Shar HaYichud V'Emunah. We're on page 96 in Chayenu, if you're following along in the Chayenu. Overview of this chapter is that the godly attributes associated with the divine names of Havaya, meaning revelation, and Elikim, meaning concealment. You might notice a parallel to what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, but especially yesterday, are all one. Revelation and concealment. For all of Hashem's attributes are comprised of each other. It's for this reason that the world, even though it might appear to run independently, Hashem is running the show. In today's lesson, the name Elikim is numerically equivalent to gematria of nature, Hateva. The numerical value is 86, same as nature, Elikim and nature. Elikim is the name of God, meaning they share a common purpose. For nature conceals the continuous divine creative energy, giving the impression that the system runs automatically, which is precisely the function of Elikim. So it's God through nature. Perek Vav, chapter 6. Earlier on in chapter 4, the Alter Rebbe explains that the supernal attribute of Chesed and Gvura, the former finding expression in the diffusion of the divine life force that creates and animates created beings, and the latter finding expression in the obscuring and contracting of this life force from them so that they conceive of themselves as independent existing beings, both possess one source. And he explained there that since these two attributes are essentially one, that Tzimtzum of Gevura does not truly conceal. For an entity cannot conceal its own self. That's why you can't use your own hand as a yarmulke, right? You can't conceal your own self. All this applies to Chesed and Gevura in the state in which they're found within their source. No, if somebody says, "Oh, we're going to play hide and go seek," somebody else can stand there and you can hide behind them. Yeah, maybe you'll be seen, but for the most part, you can't hide behind yourself. You can't go, if I put my hands here, nobody can see me. That's little kids do that. They go, peekaboo, you can't see me. You can't hide behind yourself. One might think that in the revealed state, whether in a sphira or in a mortal midah or attribute, there are indeed two separate and opposite entities, revelation and concealment, two opposite things. Therefore goes on to say that even when these attributes are revealed, they're still in the state of istalkus, iskaladus, mutual incorporation. And both serve to bring about one result, a physical world with corporal creatures, with us, physical. V'hine shem Elikim, the name Elikim, Shem midas hagvura v'atzimtzum. The name Elikim is the name which indicates the attribute of gvura and tzimtzum. Each of God's name denotes a particular divine attribute. And the name pronounced Kale, for example, which you would usually use the word in the beginning, right? Aleph Lamed. So here we're saying it without Hashem's name. Kale indicates the attribute of Chesed. As in the pasuk, the kindness of Kale endures throughout the day. Likewise, the name that indicates the attribute of Gvura or Tzimtzum is Elikim. Usually you would say it with a He, Ele, but we're not saying that now because we're just conversing and breaking things up. But really, it's with a He, so it's Ele. But we're saying Elikim, meaning when the light of the Ein Sof garbs itself in the attribute of Gvura to bring about its own Tzimtzum and concealment, it's known by the name Elikim. L'chein, Ugam came b'gematria Hateva. Hence, the same numerical value comes out to 86 as the word nature. So nature signifies the order and in which the world functions. Because of its repetitiveness, people become accustomed to its order. The sun comes up, the sun goes down, it rains, it shines, winter, spring, summer, fall, north, south, east, west, right? That's nature. People are born, people pass. So no thought is given to the divine power and life force which are concealed in those things. You think it's just normal. That's what happens. We call it nature. For it, The divine name of Elikim conceals the godly light that brings the world into existence and gives it light. Wait, sometimes we have to stop. Remember, we learned earlier in Tanya that you look out the window, you look up, and you see the heavens, and you have to remind yourself that Hashem is constantly creating and sustaining and giving this. Yesterday, I sat outside for a little while. It was just so beautiful if you're in the shade. A little breeze. It's absolutely beautiful yesterday. And today, and every day. Even when it rains, okay, we're inside, but water's a sign of blessing. We have to realize that instead of going, oh, another dreary day, go, thank God it's raining. If it wasn't raining for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, what happens? It's a drought. You have to hold back the water, this thing, that. Everything starts to fall apart. So everything is really Hashem's blessing in disguise. So the supernal light constantly creates the world, something from nothing. As the Alter Rebbe pointed out, a feat, which is more wondrous, way more miraculous than the splitting of the sea. The divine, I don't think it's even comparable. It's like, right? But everybody thinks, oh, nature's nature. But the splitting of the sea, that's a miracle. That's the way you usually look at it. That's what Alter Rebbe pointed that out. The divine name Elikim, however, conceals this light so that it would not be visible to created beings. The way God created it is that we can look as if the world exists on its own. It's functioning and it's running. Hey, Hashem created it. And then he walked away. He's busy with other things. No. Shem Elikim is that the fact that it's hidden within every bit of nature, this Shem Elikim Zeh, not as it exists in its supernal source, but as it acts through the attribute of Gvura, so the world would appear to conduct itself in a natural manner on its own, so to speak. Magin, the Nartek L'Shem, Havaya, the Elikim, the name Elikim becomes a shield and a sheath for the name Havaya. What does it do? It conceals the light and the life force, which flows from the name Havaya. That's the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the higher name of Hashem, and brings creation into existence from nothing. So this being the purpose of Havaya, the name itself meaning to bring into existence. This light and life force is concealed by Elikim. If God would be revealed to us, we wouldn't be able to exist. We become completely nullified to God. Since it's only through this concealment, affected by the name of Elikim, that created beings are able to exist. By the way, we could say, yeah, but we just want to be one with God, or we can with God. But because we're able to exist on our own as independent entities, we could choose to do the right thing, we could choose to do mitzvahs, and thereby get even closer to God than just being nullified into God. The quality of this Gvura and Simsum is also an aspect of Chesed, to which the world is built. Zuhi b'chinas Gvura haklula b'Chesed. And this quality of Gvura, which is included in Chesed, meaning this form of Gvura, through which an act of Chesed is accomplished, as such, it's included within Chesed. So, for example, you say, kids, you can't cross the street without holding my hand. The kids go, why can't we just be free to do whatever we want? Because if I hold your hand and hold you back, then you'll live. Then you're not going to get hit by the car. So Hashem is saying, if I hold back this abundant light, this is actually a chesed, the world could exist. And then slowly we'll trickle in the kindness. As you get older, as you come to understand, then you can cross the street on your own. Then you can start to have a spiritual journey with Hashem. But first everything has to be held back in order for you to be able to exist and at least feel your independent existence. So the takeaway is the world seems to be running on its own. Of course, Hashem is constantly sustaining the world, but he's concealed, he's hidden. In truth, there is a divine energy, a hidden energy, but a real energy that allows for the world to exist every moment and in everything. In fact, this is the kindness of Hashem. For if Hashem were to be exposed, then the world would cease to exist as we know it. We wouldn't have free choice. There wouldn't be the world as it is. And we wouldn't have the opportunity to get closer to Hashem through studying Torah, doing mitzvahs, davening, and the challenge. I often say the example of go play basketball on your own. No, you need a team to challenge you. You need to overcome that challenge in order to have that exhilarating feeling of winning the game. So if we're going to win the game over the Yetzer Hara, we need the challenge of feeling independent, feeling and not seeing and experiencing godliness, at least in a revealed way. And then we're able to overcome the Yetzer Hara on our own, and the reward is so much greater. So Chevra, go do mitzvahs, do everything that you can to help bring Mashiach. We'll see you tomorrow.